Hey, Mike Sevilla here from FamilyMedicineRocks.com. Just finished our latest podcast, episode 272, and it was a very unique podcast. Tonight was kind of a brainstorming session on how we can put together a kind of a family medicine marketing video. It's 10 minutes. It's for a video contest. The details are on FamilyMedicineRocks.com, and I'm going to share. The show was an hour and a half, but I'm going to show you the best 8 minutes of the whole thing, and I will have the speakers who are talking on this clip as well, who they are, and I will have more of my thoughts following these highlights of Family Medicine Rocks episode 272, kind of a brainstorming session, kind of an experimental show here this evening, and we'll start right now. But for tonight's show, this is kind of an experimental show here tonight, kids. Don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if this idea is going to work. You know, when you have one of those ideas and you're like, hey, that would be a great idea to have a show. I had that last week, and all these people on hold right now are playing along, and I'm hoping it's going to be a good discussion. I'll set it up here just in a few minutes. So let me start the discussion with Jerry here. So where did you find this link? Maybe I shouldn't know about that, but what was your idea sending me to this? Where's the opportunity here that you saw for family medicine?
So the link actually was something I stumbled across while I was on Twitter. I was looking at my feed, and someone had linked to another website that I frequent called MedGadget, and they had a link on the page, on the front page there to this contest. And the idea that I had was that there should be something. My initial idea, actually, when I first looked at it, was I thought about there's a hospital here in Kentucky called Eastern State Hospital, which is one of the original mental institutions, and mental health is one of the things I also have a passion for, other than family medicine, and so I thought, well, I'll go and film some of the stuff of this, in this old hospital, and just talk about the state of mental health and how it hasn't really advanced quite as far as we think it had. But then I thought, you know what, it's actually a better opportunity for family medicine to get out there. And if you ask the average person on the street, now most people that listen to this are at least aware of what family medicine is, I hope. But if you ask the average person on the street, a lot of people don't know. They don't differentiate between a general internal medicine doctor and a general practitioner, which almost doesn't exist anymore in the state, and what a family medicine doctor really is. So I thought this might be a good chance to kind of step up and be independently. We all at different times, or I guess not all, the two of us at different times, you and I might have been a part of the academy, and the academy does a good job of doing some branding. But I thought it was a chance for us to kind of step up and say, hey, I'm a family doctor. This is what I do, and this is why it's important, and this is what it means to the healthcare industry, and why people need to pay attention to it.
Let me ask, April. We've worked together before on family medicine issues, mental health issues, all over geeky type of stuff. I think this is kind of a really cool type of opportunity. In your social media experience and things. What are opportunities that you see, for the family medicine community to try to present some kind of message on this is who we are, this is what we're about, and this is why we're so cool.
Sure. I think that so many of the barriers to creating substantial changes and improvement in healthcare have to do with strengthening what's happening with family medicine. I know in my opinion, it's the primary way that people get mental health care. And so it's extremely important to me that we have a strong and a vibrant family medicine system. And I think that a lot of helping that happen is largely emotional. Getting people to really connect with why this is important on a level that really inspires action. And I think right now, this is a medium that really can help you do this in a way that could never be done before.
All right. And Tony, the voice of reason for this whole show. Yeah, that's right. What kind of those high level things? What are those things that we have to think about as we're starting to brainstorm this process and putting this video together?
The primary advice to any client that I'm talking to about any business communications, which I have done for clients in the medical field and outside the medical field for over 10 years, is who's your audience? So the identifying of your audience sounds pretty simple at first, but then when you get really down to thinking about who is actually going to consume this, becomes the answer to that question is critical to how you compose your message. 55-year-old white professional males have a certain way of communicating, as do 25-year-old female college students. You wouldn't speak to them the same way, so you don't want to craft your message without considering who your audience is.
I have Ben Miller on hold. Should I pick up this call?
Oh no.
I don't know.
I don't know. Let's see.
Kind of shady.
I don't know. Caller, are you there?
Yes, Dr. Seville. I'm a big fan of your work. Thanks for letting me join.
This, of course, is the awesome Ben Miller, who's going to guide us and tell us all what we should.
I just wanted to pick up on one of the last points that was made, because I think that was quite brilliant. I think that, unfortunately, the system that's been created, and both the previous speakers talked about this, has made it where the more complicated the patient's health problems are, the more fragmented their care is going to be, meaning the more providers they've got to see, the more difficult it is for them to access the system. And primary care really cuts through that in many ways, especially in the redesign of primary care through the medical home. So I love the way this conversation is going, and I just want to continue to listen in and learn from you guys.
Other thing that I thought about, you said, can we distill this down to one point or one idea? I'm going to throw this out there, and I want you guys to kind of talk about it amongst the three of you, because I've talked a lot here. But what if our question at the end was, well, what we wanted people to feel was, why don't I have a family physician?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that's a really strong question.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm going to ask Ben to come in on the conversation here. He has an idea. So, Ben, what do you have for us?
Well, just something to think about. I think there's two different ways you guys can take this. In this conversation, between Greg online and you all on the phone, I'm jumping up and down here in my office because I'm getting so excited about this. But there's a couple of different directions you can take. First of all, I don't think anyone needs to be, convinced of the importance of primary care. Maybe our medical students, and I appreciate the comment made earlier around how we're having fewer medical students going to primary care. So primary care as a delivery system, the importance of that withstanding, everybody is going to continue to pay homage to primary care because we got to have it as the largest platform of healthcare delivery. That's period. Number two, the second point, which I think you guys are starting to go in that direction, has to do with the role of family medicine as primary care providers. And so here's an idea, and this is just something I'd love, some feedback on. If you think about the people who helped start family medicine back in the day, I'm talking like Ian McWhinney, Gene Farley, Ted Phillips, Gail Stevens, John Gaiman, all those guys, they're still around. And if you want to really talk about the power of family medicine, you talk about continuity, you talk about families. So what happens if you got one of the founders of family medicine and you paired it up with a young gun, like any of you guys on the call, or like Jay Lee, or just somebody who's like the next generation of family medicine, who stands on the shoulders of those that came before. And you take that a step further and you say, okay, Dr. Phillips, this is who you saw as a patient, and you delivered, this child, and this child is now seen by the next generation family doc. And you show how we take care of families. And I like the notion of, birth to grave, but I also like the notion of birth to grave to next birth. This is the third generation. My grandfather was a family doc, and he saw 3 generations of some families. And so I really think that you would be able to hit a home run if you could combine the history with the new hotness, and you're able to combine continuity with the story of the families that have experienced that care.
And it was right at that moment, where we all knew what the plan was going to be, what the idea was going to be, and it was so great that my internet cut out, and it was a funny couple of minutes as I was trying to log back in. But that was at about minute 55 or minute 60 of the podcast, and I was so proud about the work that we did during that time, that we did more work in that hour than we did chatting online asynchronously for the past week and a half or 2 weeks. And this is really what social media I think is about, to try to get people together in different parts of the country, in different time zones, to try to come together to put this project together. And this is the first step. Obviously, we welcome your feedback also there. This is kind of a little bit of an open source type of thing. We are on a short timeline, but I want to try to get people involved, if you can, with ideas or other things to help with this project. Pay attention to my Twitter, pay attention to the Facebook page for this show, for the blog and the website. I want to be sharing this journey along with all of you. And again, I want to thank the guest on my show. I want to thank Jerry Tolbert. I want to thank April Foreman. I want to thank Tony Wood. Ben Miller called in. Greg Masters was in the chat room. Kirk Ackerson was in the chat room. I know a lot of other people were listening live and have already downloaded the podcast at this point. So thank you so much for that. I encourage you to share this project these next 4 weeks, especially with the family medicine community. Let's really try to get some momentum on this and try to get our message out there. So this is kind of the first chapter, and I'm definitely going to keep every one of you updated as far as on Twitter and on Facebook and on the blog. Thank you so much for downloading the show. I hope that you share this show. I hope you share this project with the family medicine community and with the Family Medicine Revolution. We'll all talk to you all very soon.